What's up, nerds, and welcome to What's So Good About, a video series where we ramble incoherently about a game for a while to tell you why it deserves your attention. And because who doesn't like gushing about games you like? Today, I'm talking about the first game in the Zero Escape series, and one of my absolute favorite games of all time. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. Or 909 for short, because if I just keep calling it 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, we'll be here forever. Directed by Kotaro Uchigoshi, this puzzle adventure hybrid was released in 2009 by Spike Chunsoft in Japan on the Nintendo DS, coming stateside 2010 after a localization from Access Games, stateside being the US for all you non-US people like myself. The goal of 999 was for Chunsoft to create a visual novel that could be received by a wide audience. After all, there are a ton of people who go and take one look at a visual novel and go, well, that's just a book, why the heck would I be interested in that? And before you say, Level 5 already did that with Professor Layton and the Curious Village. No. 999 wasn't just about solving random puzzles that got thrown at you willy-nilly that have nothing to do with the overarching story. This title integrates its puzzles into the plot. So let's start there, shall we? An explosion wakes up our protagonist, a college student named Junpei who finds himself on the top bunk of a bed in a cabin aboard some sort of cruise ship without any memory as to how he got there. Before the dork can collect his thoughts, however, he smacks his head on the ceiling, falls off the bed, finds the exit barred by a mysterious door with a 5 on it, and then watches in abject horror as the window shatters and water starts filling the room. Good start! Under the pump, Junpei must find a way to open the door before he drowns, which involves what is quite literally an escape the room puzzle. When the boy does finally come to his senses and collect his thoughts, he remembers that he was abducted by a mysterious being in a gas mask who said he had been selected to participate in a game where he would put his life on the line. Once the players busted their way out of the cabin, they'll find that Junpei isn't the only person with their life on the line, as just in case you never read the title for this game, there are in fact 9 persons. And thanks to a handy dandy instruction card from their kidnapper, Zero, there is a special door that will lead to their escape from the sinking ship they find themselves on. But to get there, they'll have to make it through the numbered doors and the escape the room puzzles that lie behind them, within the 9-hour time limit. Zero calls this the Nonary Game. You'll never guess what number that prefix comes from. As said at the beginning, Zero Escape 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors is a puzzle adventure hybrid. These puzzles all take place in various places upon the cruise liner, which is literally just the Titanic, in case the stairs you saw earlier didn't give it away. For the duration of the game, you'll find yourself in the soaking wet shoes of Junpei as he works with his fellow captives to escape. Yet, this lad is some sort of madman. He's wearing socks and sneakers throughout the entire game, which would have absolutely been soaked during his time in the third-class cabin. It's through his eyes you'll be poking and prodding at objects within the title's various puzzle rooms. The puzzles are great. Like, it's a simple point-and-click style where you simply click on anything that catches your eye, and then whatever you tapped on be given a yellow highlight and then be described by Junpei and all the rest of the cast. There's a lot of variety in puzzles, and aside from making a lot of screwdrivers, you won't see a lot of reuse of elements between them. There is one important element that does recur though, and that's comedy, which means that nearly every object has a quip to go with it, or even multiple. Stranded in a quickly sinking cabin? The optimal time to spend a few minutes making ladder puns. Stumped in a luxury suite? Well, that sounds like a good time for maximum flirting. Stuck in a kitchen? Well, your puns are going to be critically panned at this point, but who cares? Aside from the humorous side to the quips, they also serve the helpful purpose of adding some conversation into the puzzles and giving the player ideas, which gives the other characters some actual weight in the room so you don't feel like you're the only person doing absolutely everything. But also, this is a game that won't progress without your interaction, but that's not the point. The most important part of this is that the game does tell you how to solve everything. And as long as you've got a little patience and preferably a sheet of paper and a pen or a pencil, you won't actually really need to rely on any pixel hunting or sheer luck. Hell, with a good bit of intuition, you may even be able to predict the solution before you get all the facts. But this isn't just a puzzle game, as an important part of this title, as I mentioned above, is how those were tied into the plot. This is an ontological mystery at its first and foremost, and these 9 characters aren't just willing to jump whenever Zero tells them to. they're going to come up with whatever they possibly can to mess with any potential plans Zero has for them. Hell, they come up with code names at the start just in case Zero didn't know their true identities. Except Junpei, he doesn't get a code name because his childhood friend June already blurted out his name, which we honestly might want to be thankful for, or he would have given himself some dumbass nickname like Handy or Star. Obviously, the cast can't do that much to mess with Zero's plans, but hey, points for trying. However, this game does tell an actual story. You're not just gonna see some psychopath kidnap a bunch of people for no good reason. That'd be boring. So, as the cast make their way through the bowels of the ship, you'll start to discover a whole series of plot threads that will begin to make their way to the forefront before they start to unravel, which of course stems from what you find out about the other cast members. And obviously I can't talk about much more of the story, but wow, sweet Jesus, what the hell, it's amazing! It's got multiple endings with murders and suspicion and pseudoscience and multiple endings based on your choices and all that good stuff you want out of a mystery adventure. I mean, this is written by Kotaro Uchikoshi, the mind behind The Somnium Files. Check out our review. It's all amazing. This stuff is his forte. A story doesn't work without a strong cast, because otherwise there's just no story. But the persons you're teamed up with are exceptional. You've got your dorky protagonist, the greatest, most amazing childhood friend in existence, this snarky asshole who calls himself Santa Claus, and some amnesiac dude who could possibly rival the Hulk in sheer power. I could do this all day, but it'd be better if you actually experienced them instead of me reiterating them all, because they're all excellent and they're animated sprites to convey reactions and feelings with movement the best way. As the player gets to choose which numbered doors they go through, thanks to Zero's arbitrary rules involving math, you'll get a different supporting cast for each puzzle, allowing them to be more fleshed out in different ways and bounce off different characters in more ways, which helps them feel much more interconnected than, hell, many character-focused RPGs. They behave like people in a very abnormal situation, and they broke me down emotionally multiple times. The sound design is very good at that, encapsulating motions and tension is just child's play for Shinji Hose. So what's so good about Zero Escape? 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors? Everything! We've got like extremely fun and satisfying puzzles, a god tier cast that has me wrapped around their fingers thanks to their individual writing and their animation, story, plot, twists, events, set pieces, endings, and it's all punctuated by a killer soundtrack. The DS version of this game is a bit harder to track down, but I think that's the best way to experience the game the first time around. But you can also get it in a dual pack with its sequel, Virtue's Last Reward, we'll get to that one later, which you can access on the PlayStation 4, PS Vita, and PC. I'd love a Switch release, please, I would scream. This is just another excuse for me to go play the game. Yes, you damn right it is. That's gonna be all for this episode of What's So Good About. Thank you guys so much for watching. Noisy Pixel is a group of people dedicated to bringing you the best in game reviews, news, previews, and more. Please stick around, subscribe, and ring the little bell just to stay up to date on all of our future content. I'm gonna go back and replay video game, cause 999 good.
All glycerin crystallizes naturally when cooled to less than 64 degrees. Before that day, no matter how glycerin was cooled, it refused. But once the crystallization had begun, it was almost like, how do I put it? It was almost like all the glycerin in the world was communicating. Communicating in some way that we can't sense. And now it's happening everywhere.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. But, what does that have to do with Ice 9?
What she's saying is that it's a lot like Ice 9. What happened, I mean.
A lot like? Oh, that would be bad.